I'd like to call to order the Proctor City Council meeting for Monday, December 20th, 2021. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perform roll call at this time. Councilor Benson?
Present.
Councilor Reuter?
Present.
Councilor Johnson?
Present.
Councilor DeWall?
Present.
Mayor Ward is also in attendance. Please let the minutes reflect all others. At this time, I'd like to announce the winner for the Mayor of a Day contest, Joseph Phelan from Bayview Elementary, grade 5. If you could come forward. What's that? You have to read it. So Joseph wrote a good essay, I believed, and had some help deciding the winner. But if you could go ahead and read your essay to everybody, that would be greatly appreciated.
If I were mayor for a day, I would improve the cleanup program because it makes Proctor a better place. Also, it would help with the animal population and the river that flows through Proctor. It will thrive, and it would help the environment. I would love to be able to look outside and not see any trash. I'm proud to say I live on First Street in Proctor, and I hope this makes a change. And good luck to everyone else.
Awesome. Good job. Appreciate it. We have a future mayor on our hands. Do you want to? Can you get that? One more. Thank you. Perfect. Good.
Congratulations.
Here, do you want the box for that as well? Good luck today against Hermantown.
Congratulations.
It's nice to know that I was smart when it's tech literacy in 6th grade next year. Yeah. Thanks for coming, you guys. All right, at this time, we will look for a motion to suspend the regular city council meeting and reconvene the public hearing for truth and taxation.
So moved.
Councilor Reuter made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Sent by Councilor Johnson. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. So at this time, if there's anyone that has any comments regarding the truth and taxation levy budget hearing, we'll take comments. Apologize for the slow reaction here, but we just realized we didn't have a phone set up in council chambers, so we are working on that. We're going to move forward, but if there are any interested people wanting to call in to 218-628-6289 for the public comment and truth and taxation, we can do that at any time.
We can just wait for it if you want to have council discussion, if anyone wanted.
Council have any discussion on the truth and taxation hearing at this time? While we wait for the phone to boot up.
You can take comment during the yeah, because you're going to take your action. Right, yeah, because you're not doing it yet. As long as you allow before.
All right, well, for this public hearing, we will take comments during 6F, the final levy. Before we set the final levy, once that phone gets booted up, we'll take comments at that point if anyone has any. So with that being said, I'll look for a motion to adjourn the truth and taxation public hearing and resume our regular city council meeting. I'll make that motion if there's a second.
Second.
Second by Councilor Reuter. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Looking for a motion to approve the city council meeting minutes from Monday, December 6, 2021.
So, second.
Councilor Johnson made the motion. Councilor Reuter seconded that. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Benson.
on the first page where it said meeting was streamed live on track 7, I do not believe it was that day.
Yeah, we had issues that day. It was recorded, not streamed live. We can make those corrections. Thank you. Any other discussion? His? It wasn't streamed live last meeting. It was recorded, but it wasn't streamed live. Yep. Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Looking for a motion to approve the agenda. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Sent by Councilor Benson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Is that up and running? Okay. At this time, we'll take comments and suggestions from the citizens present or calling in. The public comment suggestion period of this meeting is when city council offers a time for everyone in attendance or watching from home to address the city council. Once we move on from public comment suggestion period of the meeting, members of the public will no longer be allowed to address the council unless the mayor acknowledges you. Besides under 6F, the final levy tonight. As a general rule, the council will listen to all comments but will not comment on or respond to any comments made by speakers. The council will not engage in dialogue. However, any council member can ask questions. If you'd like to address city council during public comment period of the meeting, please come forward to the podium or call 218-628-6289. Before you begin, please state your name and address for the meeting minutes. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the council will be prohibited from using obscene, profane, or threatening language or boisterous conduct that disrupts the meeting or the security of the public. Is there anyone at this time that is interested in participating in the public comment and suggestion period of this meeting?
Okay, thanks. Kathy Hannon. I'm actually at a bit of a disadvantage here. I don't know the agenda, so I don't know if what I've come to speak about is actually part of the agenda for tonight. It was safe routes to school, but without seeing what your agenda is that something on your agenda for tonight? Yes? Okay. Okay. So I would just say that at the earlier hearing, it was discussed, and the comprehensive plan done a couple of plans ago put some serious consideration into the traffic pattern of kids going to school, safe routes, where most of them came, what time they mostly came, what vehicle, what mode of transportation they used to get to school, all of those things. So I would offer that as a good base if you wanted to review that. It's a little older data, but the school locations haven't changed, and unless the population has changed significantly, I think it might still have value. The other thing is that the beautification committee also worked on that project, excuse me, regarding plantings for traffic calming and visibility and beautification of the access to the high school. And all of that is still very active because the beautification committee has sort of revitalized itself, and I think that would be something that we would mostly be interested in looking at again as well. So those two pieces, I would just say, are available. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike, Mr. Mayor? Anyone else have any comments or suggestions? Hearing none at this time, we will move on. Looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Councilor Reuter, is there a second?
Second.
By Councilor Benson. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Benson.
if we could remove 3A and C under committee reports, please.
Yep. Any other discussion on that? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. That'll bring us to 3A, PUC minutes, November 8th, 2021. Councilor Benson.
Thank you very much. And it's not so much about these minutes in particular, but in general, they had a meeting in December, and I was just curious about the Minnesota power contract. Would have liked to have been involved on the city side, don't know what's in it, and we won't receive those minutes, official or unofficial, until January. So that was just an observation on my part.
Thank you.
And with that, I will make a motion to approve the PUC meeting minutes of November 8th.
You heard the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Reuter. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
3C, Sand Salt Committee meeting minutes, December 8th, 2021. Counselor Benson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. And it's very simple. I was just kind of curious as to when the meeting convened, when did it start? And I only ask that because it just gives me a general idea of the length of the discussions that occurred.
Do you remember what time that meeting started? Counselor DeWall, Administrator Rich?
It's 3.
3. Or were you? 3 o'clock? 3 p.m.
Till about 4:30,
What's that?
3 to 4:30.
I can't hear him.
Did you hear the answer? It was 3 o'clock? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Any further discussion on the Sand Salt Committee meeting minutes?
And with that, I move to approve those minutes as well.
You heard the motion from Counselor Benson. Is there a second? I'll second that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. 4A, Attorney RFP, Administrator Rich.
Thank you, Mayor. At your council spots, you have a packet of information, a copy of all 3 RFPs that were submitted. The cover page of each is a scoring sheet. So as the plan was for you to review those, and they'll be considered at the first meeting in January. So if you have any questions on the scoring, you'll do those individually, and then we'll tally scores from there. But please feel free to contact me if you have any questions on those.
Administrator Rich, once we fill out this scoring sheet, do you want it given back to you or give it to you at the meeting in January?
I think that if we can get it back to me before the meeting, so we
Perfect.
can have an agenda item, would
Yep.
be a good plan.
Okay. Do we need a motion to accept this scoring evaluation sheet?
It wouldn't hurt. I'll prefer a motion where there's a close question. I always prefer a motion.
Has had time to review the scoring sheet, and if so, is there a motion to accept the evaluation scoring sheet? I've seen it earlier today, so I'll make that motion to accept the evaluation score sheet as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Reuter. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Administrator Rich, were you done with 6 or 4?
No, I'll just add that if you would like to approve those scoring sheets in the future for RFPs, I'll make sure I get those to you in advance notice.
Thank you. 4B, fire truck delivery. Administrator Rich.
The new fire truck was delivered, and I believe everyone, all the city councilors attended its reception. The fire department did their training on it. I think they did get cut a little bit short with the weather, the crazy weather that happened that evening. But if fire department member DeWall wanted to expound on it, it's a beautiful truck.
Thank you.
Your mic.
Beautiful truck, and it's a sizable investment for the city, which I know the fire department is greatly appreciative on behalf of all of council and administration for allowing this to happen. We're going to be outfitting in fully next week. Is this week Christmas? Yeah, it's next Wednesday, the 29th then. And then our aerial device training occurs the 6th, 7th, and 8th. So we're hoping, there's just 2 of us right now trained on it, so once it's outfitted, and we did need it before then, we could use it. But trying to get everyone else up to speed on it, and it's a beautiful piece of equipment.
Nice. Any other discussion? Councilor Johnson.
Counselor DeWall or Fireman DeWall.
Pull your mic closer to you, please.
Whichever way you wanted. Maybe it's even Administrator Rich. I really believe we need to have a media day. We need to show that thing off. And I guess I was surprised when I got there. I thought there would, but we can still do it. That, I mean, this thing was expensive, it's beautiful, the whole city is proud of it. Let's show it off. Let's do something very positive for our city and our area. And I don't think it's that hard to do.
And I would echo those same thoughts, Councilor Johnson, that I think we should have at least a community day where we invite the community out to look at it. I mean, it was as Councilor DeWall stated, it was a expensive piece of equipment, and it is a nice rig. But I think we should show it off and let the community see what we've done here.
Well, and I kind of look at Duluth gets a fire truck in the paper that's delinquent. Let's reverse that and do something positive for Proctor that, we got $1 million machine sitting right there. Let's show it off.
Yeah, and I know this last run, it was kind of a touch and go with schedules and weather and this and that. I mean, the next opportunity to really get a good look in action with firefighters and everyone, depending on the weather and chill temperature, when we do that training, January 6th, 7th, and 8th, would be maybe an opportunity, the next opportunity, because it'd be nice to get some photos of action, launching the aerial device and keep my fingers crossed that it's not 20 below those days, because that'll depend on kind of how we operate the thing. As we found out that night, we were going into the evening, and who would have ever thought it would be lightning that night and raining? We had to put it in because it's obviously, there's an issue when you got cloud to ground lightning. So that might be an opportunity, Administrator Rich. And if they wanted to, I believe the first training starts at 3. Maybe get the media inside the building where it's warm and do a questions, answers, photo. I can't speak for the chief, but I know he works till 2:30, so I would assume he could get there by 3. And it's not just praising the fire department. I believe we need to praise this group. They're the ones that got a plan in order to put money away for the last 3-4 years to make this opportunity happen. And I think it's a good plug for this council looking into the future.
And I'm not saying it for the council, I'm saying it for our community and firefighters, and a positive thing for us.
Yep. Thank you. Any other discussion on Councilor Benson?
This is back to Councilor DeWall. Did you say the training's going to happen again on Wednesday and then January 6, 7, and 8?
No, training, we call it training, but it's basically we're going to load it with hose, loose equipment. So different LDLH, different 2.5, 1.5 inch, physically outfitting the truck, if you will. We just all decided to pick a night where we could all get together. So it takes quite a few hours just to outfit a fire apparatus.
And that's happening this week?
The 29th, Wednesday the 29th, after Christmas.
And then 6, 7, and 8 is next
Just the
month.
aerial device certification and training.
Okay. And then the other question I have, speaking with the chief, and I was just a bit confused, he was mentioning that because of the equipment and the truck, our ISO rating dropped. And it was anywhere from 1 point to 0.87. But I was just wondering what, on an average home, that would be valued at.
I'd have to do a little research on that to get you more exactitudes. I'd be guessing at this moment. I do know that our ISO will drop. I haven't figured the impact of how much it will drop, but anytime you get a water moving device outfitted with the way it is, SCBAs, all of that, attack lines, A and B foam, it helps the overall ISO, which eventually downturns it. And keep in mind, we as of right now, we added a truck with water operations, because we did not get rid of the general yet. So what we may get as a plus now, if something detrimental happens to the general Spartan or engine one, we may, because we don't, this truck kind of replaced that truck, if you will. So it might be short-lived, but it might make it 2-3 years.
If I can just add, I think that the addition of this truck was added in the last ISO study, which was in 2020, end of 20. So being that the truck was ordered and the order was placed and it was being built, they factored the new truck into the rating that we have now. So it did take a drop, even though the truck wasn't delivered, being we had it ordered.
Thank you. Any other discussion on the new fire engine? Hearing none, we'll move on. That'll bring us to 4C, City Hall boiler update. Administrator Rich.
So unexpectedly, a nice unexpected plan was all of the 4 boilers have been removed, and we had them removed for free, and they were taken away for free. So the boiler is in, the boilers are in, they're in the warehouse, and they're expected to be installed at the beginning of January. But all is ready to go.
Nice. Thank you. Any other discussion regarding the boiler update? Hearing none. Oh, Councilor Benson.
This might be premature, Mr. Mayor. But when we were looking at the bids that are coming up for Johnson Controls, is the boiler installation included in their bid?
Their bid includes maintenance. Their bid includes maintenance and inspection.
Okay.
We approved the purchase and the installation of the boilers as a separate line item several meetings ago. So the bid that you approved include installation, but the ones you're considering today are just standard maintenance and inspection performances.
Thank you.
Any other discussion regarding the boiler update? Hearing none, we'll move on. 4D, South Proctor zoning discussion. Administrator Rich.
The minutes aren't done yet, but PETA, Proctor Economic Development Authority, discussed the city annex property south of 35 and business developments and business inquiries that have happened over the years. And they would like the Proctor Planning and Zoning to consider rezoning into a mixed use. According to our code, rezoning can be initiated 2 ways. 1, through the city council asking P&Z to review it, or 2, from P&Z initiating on their own. It was recommended at the PETA meeting that council consider asking P&Z to study a rezoning of the property south of 35 to mixed use. I just wanted to, I'm not asking for action on that because we need PETA minutes and the recommendation, but I want you to think about it and kind of put that thought into your head. If you have any questions, you can come to me. Not quite ready for council action, and P&Z doesn't meet until January anyways.
Thank you. Any discussion regarding the South Proctor zoning discussion? Hearing none.
Nope.
Oh, Councilor Benson.
I know in the past, when we've gone through rezoning, it usually comes from the property owner. So if they were, I know you're getting calls, and is that multi-use is the multi-use does it go along with what is being requested?
Not specifically, but what I can say is that its current zoning has been a barrier to some of the inquiries, because they would have to either get a variance or conditional use, and that's unattractive to potential developers.
And the other question, Mr. Mayor, if I might, is in the second paragraph, they were talking about extension of utilities and the cost. And can't really remember back to 2019 when we were first discussing cost, but I believe there was any estimates from 300,000 to over $1 million. And I was just wondering if we have a general idea what those costs might be in today's dollars.
Yeah, so I just reviewed a water and sewer extension quote from 2020. It was done by SEH, and we reviewed this on a different section of town, and SEH reported that since 2020, water pipe has more than tripled in cost, and sewer pipe has more than doubled in cost. So at the time of the Uggstead Road extension that you're referring to, it was in 2019, and the estimated cost was around $320,000. So if that gives you an indication what we might be looking at to extend across the freeway in today's rates, will give you a good idea.
So we could look at that 320 and triple it, then it would be
Probably.
pretty much in the ballpark. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion regarding that? Hearing none, we'll move on to 4E, City Hall holiday office closures.
Thank you. Just to let you know that because the holiday falls on the weekend, City Hall offices will be closed on Friday and on Monday.
Thank you.
And then same as well for the New Year's.
Thank you. Any discussion regarding the office closures? Hearing none.
And again,
Oh,
because
Counselor.
it's garbled, that's Friday and Monday before and after New Year's and Christmas.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll move on to 4F, January 17th and February 21st meeting change notices. Administrator Rich.
So at the beginning of the year, you will approve a slate of officers or a schedule of meetings, but because these two meetings and our mayor pointed out two other closure or changes that we're going to have to take effect, but just to give you a heads up, the January 17th meeting and the February 21st meeting fall on holidays. So we'd just like a discussion, do you want to move those meetings to the Tuesday afterwards and at the same time? And then also there was two additional meeting changes. You'll be presented all of those meeting changes in one form. So we approve the meeting dates at one time, and we don't have to repost meetings or meeting changes. Mayor, the other two were?
We have July 4th Independence Day and September 5th is Labor Day, so 4 total meetings. I guess I would suggest moving them to the Tuesday after the Monday, but I guess there'll be discussion for council.
Is that a
That's what
motion?
we've done I believe that's what we've done in the past, so I'll make a motion for that, or do we need a motion since we're gonna be approving it in
No,
January?
you will approve the whole schedule in January.
In January? But is that what council would like to see with those dates, is moving to Tuesday?
That's what we've always done.
Okay. So then, when it's presented in January, it'll be the Tuesday after. Any other discussion on that? Hearing none, we'll move on. That'll bring us to 6A, Proctor Fire Department termination. In your packet was a letter from Chief Elquist and Administrator Rich recommending removing or terminating a member of the fire department due to absence since June 27, 2019. Looking for a motion to remove said firefighter.
So moved.
Councilor Reuter made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Johnson. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. 6B, Johnson Controls Service Agreement. Administrator Rich.
Thank you, Mayor. As stated before, this is a service agreement. So this is inspecting all of our controls, doing regular maintenance as spelled out in the scope of work. I do recommend a 3-year contract. We do have building maintenance control services up for RFPs in 2023. So this would get us through 21, 22, 23, at which time we could go out for RFPs if you still choose to do that. I feel like Johnson Controls, with the help of Councilor DeWall, we're finally starting to get some control of the building, so I recommend we continue services with them.
Thank you. You heard the recommendation from Administrator Rich. Is there a motion to accept the 3-year Johnson Controls agreement, service agreement?
So,
Counselor DeWall made the motion. Is there a second?
second.
Sent by Counselor Reuter. Any further discussion? Administrator Rich, I know Counselor Benson asked earlier regarding those new boilers. Would they be included in the service agreement? I know the install is not included, but maintenance on them.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Add to that, this is more than just boilers. This is all of the air handlers up top, belts, if they have to balance, check for balance on the blower, squirrel cages, for lack of a better word. So, I mean, there's quite, and when we looked in previous years, it was substantially like triple this money by the time you added all the services that went along with this, so.
Yeah, and the reason I was asking about the boilers is because I didn't want to see another contract come before us for boiler maintenance. I wanted to make sure it was included in this. So, but thank you, Councilor DeWall. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Brings us to 6C, Golf Course Management RFP. Administrator Rich.
The Golf Course Advisory Board Committee has met twice now. First, to come up with a plan of which direction they wanted to see the golf course management go. The second time was to review a request for proposal, which you have in your packet. The Golf Course Committee did meet. We went over the RFP line by line. This reflects some of the ideas that are in the contract. But it is more a statement of what is expected and what the city of Proctor is going to provide for a golf manager or a management corporation or a management team or an individual manager. So the Golf Course Advisory Board requests or recommends that this RFP go out, and we have several outlets where we're considering getting it out to, which upon your approval will go out immediately. As you can see, we're under a pretty heavy deadline.
Thank you. Looking for a motion to accept the golf course management RFP.
So move.
Councilor Johnson made that motion. Is there a second? I will second for discussion. Any discussion? I have one question, and I read through it a few times. Is there language in here discussing the grounds? I know there's language in here regarding the buildings and the equipment, but what about like the actual golf course?
I believe so. I believe it's in the even in the scoring criteria or evaluation criteria. Unless there's a page missing.
And if any counselors know too, I may have missed it, but
I did not see that either, Mr. Mayor. That would have been one of my questions.
okay. And I guess
I would just like to see that line item. It's under 10, maintenance and repair of course and buildings. Somehow put it in there, grounds in equal or better shape, just as we have for equipment.
yeah, and I know Councilor Benson made a point at our last meeting, I believe it was, regarding a water hazard. And that's why I was looking for it in this RFP, is because what's the process for them to make changes to the actual grounds? Do they got to come to council or the city and discuss making those improvements?
So those type of decisions and protocol would be addressed in the agreement.
Okay,
And that agreement, the previous agreement, is available for review from any potential management coming in.
okay. So what they're able to do with the grounds would be part of the negotiations process?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Any further discussion regarding that?
Yes.
Counselor Benson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Two things, just out of curiosity, the number of rounds that were played last year and how it compared to other years.
I don't have that number right now, but I can look into it, yep.
No rush. And is there an opportunity for the city to make any money with this agreement?
No, there is not. And I believe that was discussed at length with the negotiation committee with the former management, and those financials reviewed prior to the management coming on. And the Gulf Advisory Committee also discussed it, and it wasn't a money-making venture to begin with. In fact, the city was hemorrhaging money for the golf course. So at this point in time, this is a partnership to keep the golf course as part of the community rather than a money-making venture.
Not unlike any other park or recreational activity or property.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we have a motion and second on the floor. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Brings us to 6D, Resolution 39-21, authorizing participation in opioid settlement. Attorney Bray.
It is what it is. That's what was negotiated, and I have to point out that, as Councilor Benson asked me earlier today, Purdue, the Sacklers aren't included in this. That's a separate matter. They're in their separate Chapter 11 case. So there will be some additional settlements coming up.
Okay. Thank you. A lot of good information in there, so thanks for providing all that. Looking for a motion then to accept Resolution 39-21.
So move.
Councilor Benson made that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Reuter. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Councilor Benson.
Thank you. As I'm looking at the Exhibit B, the local abatement fund allocation, I see Proctor is one of only 32 cities listed. And I was just wondering how that came about.
Some of the cities pursued separate litigation. Some didn't join the litigation. In fact, I think the vast majority of the cities didn't join the litigation. If they joined a litigation group, perhaps they didn't accept this settlement, so they're probably out of luck. A lot of these entities are in Chapter 11 right now, and we need acceptance so that they can go to the court and get a proposed Chapter 11 plan passed.
So, Ms. Mayor, one more?
Yep.
So does that mean we get this local abatement fund allocation in addition to?
There might be more money coming, yes.
Okay. And everybody else, all the other cities would just have that one single pot, and we possibly could have two pots.
Multiple pots, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? There are criterias as far as how to spend the funds that we receive, correct?
Right.
So we'll have to do some research on that, but any further discussion?
The other thing I wanted to point out to you is that the Purdue Chapter 11 plan was approved by the bankruptcy court but rejected on appeal. So that might be a little while.
Thank you. Anything further on Resolution 39-21? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Brings us to 6E, transfer of funds. In your packet, there was a year-end transfer of funds from Administrator Rich and Finance Director Brunfelt. Looking for a motion to approve the transfers.
So move.
Counselor Johnson made the motion. Is there a second? I'll second these transfers. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. 6F, final levy. I believe in our budget meetings, we've been discussing the 3%. Dropped down from, I believe, the proposed levy was 4.75. Looking for a motion to approve the final city levy of 3%.
I'll make that motion.
Counselor Reuter made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Johnson. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Counselor DeWall.
This motion is to approve the levy only, not the budget internal. According to our minutes, we were going to have meetings that didn't happen for this or that. So I'm comfortable approving this for the levy purpose only, assuming that in accordance with our minutes of the last meeting that we'll be having some type of a internal budget meeting to address the internal flow,
Final numbers.
final numbers. I just want to make sure, for myself, I'll speak for myself, I'm approving the levy. I'm not necessarily approving the budgets for next year.
Yeah, and I believe that was the motion, approving a 3% levy. And I believe we are going to have more discussion on that final budget, correct, Administrator Rich?
Correct.
So, all right, any further discussion?
And just to add on to what Councilor DeWall said, I would hope that, since we got to a point this year, that we could quarterly review the budget and make any sort of adjustments throughout the fiscal period.
Yeah, and Administrator Rich and I spoke regarding that, even after we set a budget, and correct me if I'm wrong, but even after we set a budget, we can always go back and change it. So I like the idea of making sure we're in line, and if things need to be adjusted, we can always go back and adjust. Yeah.
I just fear a little bit because I'm not blaming anything with this administration, but previous administrations was always thrown back, well, you approved it. So I'm just making it clear,
Yep.
no, I approved the levy.
Yep, correct. We gotcha. Anything further? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. 6G, declaring equipment surplus. In your packet from Chief Helquist and Administrator Rich, they're making a recommendation to declare the following fire department equipment as surplus and allow Chief Helquist to list for sale to other departments or to auction off. This is a 2000 Ford ambulance prep package. Looking for a motion to approve the recommendation.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Counselor DeWall made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Benson. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. 6H, sand salt facility. Administrator Rich.
Thank you, Mayor. We are in the final phases of planning this project. The phase one was estimates and location and preliminary design of the sand salt storage facility. Phase two included the addition of a garage to house the equipment, the sand salt distribution equipment. In that process, a discussion started with Public Utilities Commission on creating some garage space, office space, restroom facility in that garage, which included additional expense for heating and plumbing and not just a basic garage package. So SEH and the Sand Salt Committee has met, and we've adjusted numbers, adjusted plans, presented those to the Public Utilities Commission. They approved their portion of the project at the amount recommended by the Sand Salt Committee. The remaining portion would be the City of Proctor's responsibility, and that is for the portion of the garage that is amounting to about $350,000. And this would give us a complete sand salt facility, storage of our equipment in one location. So with this, what we're asking for, the committee is recommending that the city move forward with the design phases, and this would also give Finance Director Brunfeld and I an opportunity to seek out funding recommendations, whether that comes from the budget or it comes in the form of financing or borrowing, lending, loaning, whatever that may be.
You heard the recommendation from Administrator Rich regarding moving forward with the project and allowing Administrator Rich and Finance Director Brunfeld to seek financing and/or budget recommendations to approve the $350,000. Is there a motion to go along with the recommendation? Councilor Johnson made the motion. Is there a second? I'll second that. Any discussion?
Did we already secure the 110, or are we really saying 460?
The 110 was
I know we
approved.
approved it.
Yeah, it's in the budget, not approved budget, but the 110 is in the proposed budget.
That answers my question. Okay, thank you.
And I just had one, any financing or budget recommendations would come back to council, correct?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Any further discussion? I think Kathy, you had a question?
Where is the location of the new facility to be?
It is on Kirkus Street, on the south side of Kirkus Street, underneath the power lines.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion? Councilor Benson?
Thank you. I'm still a little uncomfortable. We're under a timeline. We need to get this done and approved. And I noticed in our last agenda packet, there was an item from SEH about doing a cost for water and sewer up at the fairgrounds. And I didn't know what extent that was, but it almost feels there was a rush for this property, and I'm apprehensive about this project, in part because you're taking a valuable piece of commercial land off the market without knowing for sure. We had an estimate on water and sewer up at the fairgrounds. And I know we've been through the process, but I just wanted to get that on the record. And I hope the water and sewer does come in low up at the fairgrounds as well. But I do understand the need to proceed with this project.
Thank you.
If I may be on the record as well,
Absolutely.
if that's okay. The Sand Salt Committee has been meeting for well over a year on this location, and the location has been not only recommended in minutes, but it's also been studied and it's been evaluated by the committee. So I feel like it's been a pretty transparent and slow, methodical, thoughtful process for over a year already. Just unless we did not make that clear. But.
No, I would agree. It's been, and I believe the location is under power lines, correct?
It is,
Which
Yeah. I'm not sure if that's a
valuable or
valuable
yeah.
place to build something
Well, you
underneath power lines.
I don't know if Minnesota Power
You
would
can't
allow
build
for it.
underneath them. Anyway,
You can't what?
you can't
Build
build
right
under a
under
power
it.
line. You can have a road going across, but you can't.
Yeah.
So actually, in this particular situation, it's probably the really good use of this particular piece, besides the topography of where it sits. It's not going to be in, the building will be where you can see it, but the salt and sand, you won't be able to see it. So cosmetically, it doesn't take away from other things that could potentially pop up south of that.
Yeah, and I'm not speaking against the process or the work. It's just my apprehension on a couple of little items that I have questions about.
Thank you, Coun- Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Brings us to 6I, Ordinance 04-21, first reading. This was brought to us, I believe, at the last meeting. We sent it back to P&Z, and they had a meeting this afternoon regarding making the changes, but this is a definition of a dwelling, and they're changing a minimum square footage of 600, or they're adding a minimum square footage of 600. I know last meeting it was 800, so they made the recommended changes from council. Looking for well, this is the first reading, so any discussion on that? Hearing none, we'll move on. That'll bring us to 6J, Ordinance 05-21, first reading. You gotta apologize, I just got these from the P&Z meeting, so. This is an ordinance amending section 1001-03 design standards of the City of Proctor City Code by adding subdivision 11 pedestrian infrastructure. I'll let Administrator Rich take this if that's all right.
Thank you, Mayor. In order to qualify for Safe Routes to School funding, which we are preparing a grant application for the Second Street project, we do have to have language in our code that addresses safe routes to schools and new subdivisions and developments, that their connectivity to existing infrastructure or possibility of connectivity is considered in any new subdivisions. So with this, this passing of the ordinance, it checks a box for us, but it also ensures that future developments do consider safe routes to schools and connectivity to those routes. The good news is we didn't know that we would get this approved in time, but the Safe Routes to School funding deadline application has been extended another week. So we have time. You do the exact process of the first reading, second reading, recommendation by planning and zoning we're following the procedure.
Thank you. Does anyone have discussion on Ordinance 05-21's first reading? Hearing none?
No, Mr. Mayor?
Oh, Councilor Benson.
I'm curious, because I know that there was a hearing earlier. I was not able to attend. I was just wondering if there was any input or what was said, if anything.
There was one member of the community that was present, and she just expressed, she addressed you tonight with the same exact sentiment that she addressed the Planning and Zoning Commission.
And did P&Z have any thoughts about it?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion regarding Ordinance 05-21? Hearing none, we'll move on. They'll bring us to members' concerns. Councilor Benson.
Mr. Mayor, in the spirit of the season, I have nothing.
Thank you. Councilor DeWall.
Just a couple, because it's the end of the year stuff. Looking for future agenda items. Property split off of LMAC. Where's that at? The Caboose project that we kind of all forgot about until today. This is more FYI for Administrator Rich. The plans, design, logos, schematics, renderings were all handed over to the new teacher that took the replacement.
Okay, good, thank you.
What I was told was he was going to put that in as same, what council already approved, let the intro to wood class deal with it. They have the frame. The frame has already been fixed, and the new decking has already been put on. It was suggested to me that if for some reason they are unable to finish it by spring, the other party would finish it by spring. So just FYI for you to, and I'm sorry I don't have the new teacher's name.
Thank you.
And then the only other thing would be, I know next meeting's gonna be a big one, but hopefully we'll get a kind of a COVID plan awareness, because I feel like we're gonna enter into some more seriousness of it. So hopefully that will be another agenda item to our already big meeting. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Johnson.
Just, wasn't a real fun year, but hopefully next year will be better. So Happy New Year to everybody, and Merry Christmas, and Happy Hanukkah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Reuter.
I have nothing at this time.
Nothing. I just, again, going to echo Counselor Johnson, I guess. Wishing everybody a happy and safe holiday season, and we'll see you next year. Attorney Bray.
Nothing from me.
Nothing for you. Looking for a motion to approve the bills in the amount of $383,495.59.
So moved.
Counselor Reuter made a motion. Is there a second? I'll second those. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Counselor DeWall made a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Counselor Johnson seconds that. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passes. Thank you.